In this video, I'm going to let you know everything you need to know about copyright when it comes to YouTube. Yeah, we're talking content ID, copyright claims, copyright strikes, how to manage your music, and how to avoid getting yourself into trouble with other people's music. The format today is going to be a 10-minute crash course, so if you just want the facts, you can dive into those. We're then going to do a deep dive. I'm going to take you behind the scenes of my YouTube dashboard so you can see how copyright claims work in real life, and then we'll open it up for any Q&A that you may have at the end. But if it's your first time here, who am I and what right do I have to tell you about copyright? Well, my name is Pete and this is Studio Live today. My goal on this channel is to help you create, record and release your best music. We do that through tips, tricks, tutorials and live streams just like this one. If that's your bag, consider subscribing. But the reason that I'm semi-qualified to talk about this is that I've been doing live streaming and videos on YouTube for about 5 years, and I've come across pretty much every type of copyright thing that can happen. And because I do weekly live shows where I play other people's music and I play cover songs, I've actually come across a bunch of copyright claims, and that's what we're going to dive into in this video. Hello to the folks who are here live. If you've got questions, we will get to the Q&A at the end, but for now, let's dive in and get started. So, what are copyright claims? Well, copyright claims on YouTube, they look a little bit like this, and what they actually do is if you use someone else's music or video in your video on YouTube, you can get what's called a copyright claim. This won't affect your channel. You can see up there it says channel not affected. It's still able to be viewed publicly, but the one key thing is that it makes you ineligible to monetize that video. We'll talk about a little more about what that means as we go through this video. Now, the evil step cousin of copyright claims are called copyright strikes. I don't have any copyright strikes, so we won't be going into those in detail, but the main difference is a copyright strike is where you have used someone else's copyrighted content, and instead of them wanting to share the revenue or make it ineligible for you to monetize, instead they issue a takedown notice, they block your video, and you get a copyright strike. Like most things in life, 3 strikes and you're out. So you do need to be careful with that. Copyright strikes usually come about when you're using entire songs or particular artists who are a little bit more aggressive, shall we say, with the way they protect their IP. So if you say grabbed a Drake song and you made a video that was just your cat in doing cute things with a ball of yarn, but it was an entire Drake song end to end, then that's probably going to get a copyright claim at best. More likely, it's going to hit you with a copyright strike. So you do need to be super careful if you're using other people's music in your videos, and we're going to talk about some ways to manage that as we go through. So what is the difference then between a copyright claim like this one, which is very benign and not super serious, and a copyright strike? Well, it's the severity, and it's usually the choices made by the other third party when they're actually doing things. So keep that in mind when you are deciding what to do with that. So let's continue on here and talk about the main things that you need to know here. What happens when you get a claim? So whether it's a strike or a claim, we're going to talk claims here first. But what happens when you get a claim is you'll get an email and it will say, you've got a copyright claim. Now, the first time I got one of these, I was like, what have I done? Because I thought I was in super trouble. Copyright claims, not going to affect your channel. As you can see here, channel impact not affected. Visibility is going to be public, but the main difference is that it will be ineligible for monetization. Now, that's not going to impact you at all if you don't have a monetized channel. So to have a monetized channel on YouTube, you need to be part of the YouTube Partner Program, which means you need to have 1,000 subscribers and a minimum of 4,000 hours of watch time in a 12-month period. If you don't have any of that, copyright claims legitimately mean nothing to you. You don't have to worry about them at all because they're not going to affect you in the slightest. The only thing that may be a bit annoying is that they may throw some ads on there to generate revenue for the actual original creator. But apart from that, there is nothing. So what happens when you get a copyright claim? Well, you get the email, you come in here and you can actually see what you do. So what can you do when you get a claim? What options do you have to manage that claim? Well, you can see here, this is one of my Your Music Live. This is Your Music Live number 19. And I've got 2 copyright claims on here. One is from a Brad Tholomew, When I Hear My Voice, which was a song that I played. what is actually from mine. So I got a copyright claim on myself. So if we click down on this one, you can see that we've got the details here because this is a song that I actually released using Amuse. You can see the copyright owners over there. You can see the period that the content was found, and you can see that it's monetized in all these territories. There's some actions that we can do to actually manage this, which is what we're going to talk through in this one as well. So what will a claim do to your video? As we've already said, not much. It's usually not affected. It's usually still playable in all territories. Occasionally you may find that it gets blocked in some locations with a copyright claim. That all depends on the copyright laws in each country. So generally doesn't have a whole lot of impact on that. So what it actually does is not actually that much. And we will cover in the deep dive section what these actions are as we go through and what we can do with them if you're interested in that. All right, what about cover songs? You might be thinking, this is okay. So yeah, I get it, Pete. If you use someone else's original music or original material, you'll get a copyright claim. But can I do a cover version of someone else's song? Well, yes, you can, and it's a little bit different. So let's explain the difference between the two now. If we come back on over, this is what it looks like if you do a cover song. So the same sort of thing happens here. The claim type here, however, is a composition claim. The claim on this first one here was an audio claim. So this is saying you're using the actual audio of this song. We're going to claim it because of that. The difference here is, you can see here, the claim type being a composition claim means I've used the lyrics and melody of that composition. So for here, I played a song by Soundgarden called Blow Up the Outside World. And it is claimed the composition because that was written by Chris Cornell and Soundgarden. Now, the difference here is you can see it's got sharing revenue and it says it's identified as a cover song. So that's a different thing. You're sharing money generated from the ads with the relevant artist or copyright holder. And up the top here, instead of ineligible, as we saw on this one, where it says video cannot be monetized, if you're part of the YouTube partner program and you do a cover song, it will say sharing. And that means that you're sharing ad revenue with the original songwriter. So you are the performer, you own the performance of the cover song, you can monetize that, but because of the fact that you're using someone else's song, the composition royalty belongs to them. And YouTube thankfully manages all of that. So you can see in the case of one happy hour here, I have about 10 claims because every time I play a song, you can see I played I'm Gonna Be 500 Miles, End of the Movie by Cake, If You Could Only See by Tonic, 1979 by Smashing Pumpkins. All of those will give me a copyright claim. And as long as all of those are in this same type of copyright, you can see the overall video I can still share, but I'm sharing it with Billy Corgan, I'm sharing it with Chris Cornell's estate, I'm sharing it with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Anyone whose song I've played, part of that actually goes to. So hopefully that helps you with the difference between a copyright claim for the audio and a copyright claim for the composition. What is revenue sharing? Well, we've talked about that before. It just means that you will share with the original composer, the person who wrote the lyrics and who composed the melody. Can I dispute a claim? What if I believe that this claim is bogus? And they do happen. It's an automated system. It basically is taking a fingerprint of that song and then layering it over yours and working out if it's the same song. What if they get it wrong? Well, yep, you have an action here that you can use, which is a dispute. So if we tap select action here, we've got trim out segment, we've got replace song, we've got mute song, and we've got dispute. So they're the 4 things that you can do. You can dispute it if you think it's wrong. If it's right, but you don't want it to affect your whole video, you can remove the segment entirely. You can replace the song with something from YouTube's audio library, and you can mute the song. And we'll show all of those in the deep dive section that we'll get to in just a moment. The other questions that I kind of get is, can I use samples? So if you use samples of a song, you can, but guess what? You're usually going to end up with something like this. So even if I just used a sample of this song by Bartholomew or my song Goats, then I'm still going to get the same copyright claim, yeah? It's not going to actually be any different. I'm still going to get a copyright claim because I've used part of that original audio. And worse than that, if I use too much of that audio, or if it's from an artist that has a label or that has management that are actually wanting to issue takedown notices, the Eagles, But yeah, there's plenty of artists out there that are a little more aggressive. So you do need to be careful when you're using other people's music. The beautiful part is that when I do this, the Your Music live show, most of them are independent artists. And when they're releasing music, it's usually places like CD Baby, as you can see here, or somewhere like Amuse, down here, the one that I had, Amuse, that I released through, that is actually going to put that. Which brings us to the final point in this first 10-minute crash course, which is, that's all cool, Pete, but I am the actual artist. What if I want to protect my music? What if I got other people and I want to make sure that they're not using my music on their YouTube videos? Well, there's a couple of things that you can do here. You can release, as we saw here with these examples, you can release through a distributor and you can select something called either YouTube Money or YouTube Content ID. When you release through a distributor with those, they will actually get added to YouTube's library of audio, which means that anytime someone uses those, then you can actually get it detected and then you can do exactly what it is. You can be the one where it says ineligible. Where is it? Over here. Gone to the wrong one, where it says ineligible up there, that could be you. The video cannot be monetized, but if I release your song or if I use your song, then that person actually gets it. So in the case of this video, it says I can't monetize it, it's ineligible, but ads may be placed on the video and then the ad revenue is going to be paid to the copyright owner, which in this case is both Bartholomew and Fearcut, which is actually me. So I can get anywhere from 1 or 2 up to 5, 6, 7 of these, and then any revenue made from those videos is split amongst those artists. Now, there are 2 other ways that you can do it, and we'll touch these briefly, and we'll talk about them in more detail at the end. So you can go in and become an independent copyright owner, holder of your own stuff with YouTube. I haven't tried it. I've been told on good authority that it's super hard. You basically have to provide all your songs, all your audio files, all your metadata, apply through to YouTube, say that you've got considerable risk that people are going to start using your music in their videos. And then, there's apparently a lot of hoops you have to jump through. And most independent artists don't get approved, which is why most of them use a distributor and then use the YouTube Content ID through the distributor. There's one other service that I'm aware of that you can use, and that is this one, which is Audium. So I've not used this. If there's enough demand and if people want me to check it out, maybe I'll sign up and check it out here. But this is an agency that collects YouTube royalties, US streaming and mechanical royalties, and Canadian digital mechanical royalties for you and your music on behalf of you. So because they manage all of that complicated metadata and legal stuff with YouTube, then you can actually just get on with the process of creating your music. So that's another couple of options. So you basically got 3 options. You go through a distributor, you go through a third party like Audium, or you try and do it yourself, which again, I haven't tried, but other folks have told me that it's not super easy to do. Is that good? If you got value out of that, hit the like button. Hopefully that answered most of the questions that you've had about YouTube, copyright, content ID, copyright claims, how it all works. If you're keen to hang around, we're going to jump into the deep dive section in about 1 minute. And I recommend you do, because I'm going to show you how you can actually manage these, what options you have to remove them, to mute them, to replace the audio, or to even dispute. What are those options that you have to do that? G'day to the folks that we have here live. We have Ricky, Neil, Jade Stars in the house, Russ, g'day, Tom, Cody, Deep Gravity Lady, Rod Align, who've I missed, John, Chinton. G'day to everyone who is here and checking in. If you do have questions, please jump in and let me know. Deep Gravity says I got a copyright claim from myself. Yeah, so that's what can actually happen. You can actually get copyright claims from yourself. So especially if you release through a Muse or CD Baby, or another one who often use YouTube Content ID, then yeah, you use your own song in your own video, but it's not on your topic channel, it's on your own channel, yeah, it's going to do that. It's going to. And you saw that there with my song Goats over here on this example, not that one, but this one. You saw that, yeah, one of the songs that I played here was my own song Goats. So we'll jump in and take a look at that one in a moment and let you know what you can do to do that. Alrighty, let's jump on in and start looking at these deep dives. So, as we said before, how do you manage these? What options do you have when you get copyright claims, and what should you do? Well, that's what we're going to dive into now. So we'll come in here and check out, firstly, this one. So this is a Your Music Live from a few weeks ago, Your Music Live number 19. You can see there that we've got this one here, Bartholomew cannot be monetized. We've got the actions that we can select there, and then we've got my actions here. Now I won't touch this one because what I normally do is I'll leave these here, usually forever, but for the sake of this video, we'll do some little things here now, because if you have a monetized channel and say you use just one song for a little bit of time, and that's going to cost you the entire monetization of your entire stream, well, you may want to go in and make a change to that. So let's pretend I'm doing that now. And I'm going to go back in time because, I'm going back to videos that now get maybe, 1 or 2 plays per day, so that I'm not robbing any of the artists of the few dollars. And by the way, it is going to be a few dollars. If you're looking at all of this and thinking, hey, I'm an artist, I'm releasing my music, I should really focus in on YouTube Content ID. To give you an idea, so for this one here, Your Music Live 15 has 781 views. I checked it before, I think it had $1.09 of monetization. So that's $1.09. That's why I don't bother coming back in here and changing this up very regularly. And it's also why, unfortunately, music, not a whole lot of money, unless you're getting a channel with lots of views and lots of watches and subscribers. Yeah, it's not going to be huge. So I just wanted to point that out as well. But what we need to do here, so here's our copyright claim. We can click on the See Details button. So this is back off of my Songtember one. And what you can see here is that we had a big Songtember live stream. It was 2.5 hours and there was one copyright claim. So there's just this track is the one copyright claim that we had on that whole stream. So if I wanted to, now again, I didn't do it at the time, but if I wanted to now come in here and fix this up in some ways, we've got some options here. So we can come in here, we can go select action, and then we've got a bunch of actions. It's not working. There we go. We can trim out the segment, we can replace the song, or we can mute the song. So let's show you the options and what we can do here. Trim out segment means that we actually remove it completely. So let's click this one and come into our editor. So you can see down the bottom here, it shows me the start time and it shows me the end time. So it's actually, for some reason, it's like, it's showing it, oh no, I was going to say it's only like a second, but no, it's about 57 seconds that you're going to do. Now you can preview the trimmed video here by selecting this button, and that's going to actually preview it, and it can take 30 seconds. I'm not going to do that on this one because it will play the same audio and I'll get the same strike as I did before. So I'm not going to do that to show you, but if you wanted to see exactly what's going to be trimmed, you can do that. You then hit the continue button, and all this does is edit this video. It trims out that segment so it's not going to be included. So if, for instance, you have something where you are playing a song in the background, like this is one of the use cases for this. You're playing a song in the background and you've got like a 1 hour live stream, but for 5 seconds, shares, do you believe in love? That's playing in the background, then you're going to get a copyright claim on your entire video. If you just want to remove that 5-second chunk, then this is the way that you can do it. And then once you hit the continue button, it takes about an hour or two to process, and then the new version of your video will not have that chunk in there. So that's number one option, and that's probably, excuse me, that's probably the safest and easiest option. Just completely remove it. Once it's removed, you'll come back in here and this ineligible will become monetized. So it will just remove the ineligibility. It removes the copyright claim automatically and you're good to go. So that's option number one. Now keep in mind, if like me, you do live streams, like the live stream we're doing right now, if you make any edits to the video, like that, it will remove your live chat. So anything that changes, anything that removes anything in the video will remove the live chat replay. So if your live chat replay, like the kind folks who are here chatting live now, if that's important to you to keep on your YouTube channel, then you don't want to use this method. All right, let's come back and take a look at our next method that we can use, shall we? We'll close out of that sucker. We won't go ahead and do that. We'll wait for YouTube to catch up here because it's having a wee think. Just come back over here while Chrome crashes. We'll come back over here. The joys of live video, hey? There we go. It has come back again. So we'll come back on over to here. Let's go in and take a look at the next method we have. So we will click on, not options, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to go to the copyright claim and go see details. And we'll jump on in to this copyright claim again. So there it is. It's the same one. What we can do now is click the action. And this time, let's explore the replace song. This one's a bit fun because we can actually use the free YouTube audio library to replace the original audio with a clip of audio that is royalty free directly from YouTube. That's an interesting thing. So here is the original section. Here's the segment that it's going to replace in. We can now come in here and find a song. So we can use the entire library here. We can filter it. We can search. We can do all sorts of things in here. So let's just go punk. I don't know why, but we'll search for punk. Contains punk. So we can find a song here in the YouTube library that thinks it's punk. So this is not drum and bass. All right, let's try this one. So we can preview it by hitting the play button. Let's just turn up my audio. We can hit the play button to preview it, like so. Sounds like drum and bass to me. This is not drum and bass, except it is. Oh, this is not punk. Let's go with this. Scratching teeth sounds more fun. Let's try this one. Yeah. So the beauty of this is all these little audio clips are completely royalty free. So I'm not living on the edge here. I can comfortably do these knowing that if I play these in this live stream, it's not going to get content matched. And if I put them here to replace the audio in this, it's going to be fine. Now, if we want to add it, all we have to do is hit the add button and let's take a look at what happens here. You can see down the bottom there that we've got our video and our audio. And as we add that in, there's this little section down here. You can see it's only a tiny little piece, but it's actually added this audio in. If we can zoom in on it, YouTube's being super slow here, but if we zoom on in, like so, we should be able to see it. There it is. So there you can see, there's the original audio that's got the no monetization thing. Here's our new audio, this scratching teeth. All we need to do now is hit save, and then I'm going to go, let's take a listen to the Deadwood Outlaws, A Man Best Left Alone. And then it's going to play a completely different song. Now, in this case, that's not going to be cool, yeah, because it's going to be a different song. But let's say it was that bit where it was Cher's Do Not Believe in Life After Love. Well, then you can just replace that 5 seconds with 5 seconds of scratching teeth, and it's going to work for you. It's going to work a treat. So that's another option that you have there if you want to replace your audio, if you're getting a content claim. Let's discard the changes on that one, which we don't want to do. By the way, you can use that. You can use the YouTube audio library in all your videos. There's literally thousands of songs there. If you're ever doing a video where you don't want to create your own music and you just want some background music, some foreground music, some sound effects, go to the YouTube audio library. It's free and there's literally thousands of things in there. You can even download them and bring them into your projects. If you're editing an iMovie and LumaFusion somewhere else, you can use all of that in your project. So keep that in mind as well. What about the final option that we have here? Let's go back in to our copyright claim. We'll see the details. And the last one's probably the coolest one. What we're going to do is I'm going to select action here. We're going to come on down. Now we can trim out, we can replace, we can also mute the song. So that's what we're going to try here. We're going to click the mute button and we're going to mute this song. Now again, if you think I'm being mean to the poor Deadwood Outlaws, this video is getting maybe 1 or 2 views. I'm robbing them of about 1/4 cent over the next probably 6 months. So I'm going to push this through because I'm interested to try this because there's a beta version here or a beta version of muting just the song. So we can mute out all sound when the song plays, right? And that's what you'd want to do generally. That's going to be the safest way to go. It removes all sound from your video while the claim song plays. So you're talking, I'll introduce it. I'll say, and now let's take a listen to this song, A Man Best Left Alone, and then it will just go mute. It'll go silent. Or I can try this, which is in beta. It is removing the claim song only, keeping the rest of the sound. This option usually takes longer and might not work if the song is hard to remove. So this is using some sort of funky algorithm to actually try and remove the music. So this one could be cool to try if you have that background audio problem. Say you get a copyright claim because music's playing in the background, but you still want to hear what you're saying. This one could be cool. So we're going to try it. We're not going to know the result today, but if you keep an eye on the channel, a good reason to say subscribed, I will come back and explore this because now that we know that we're going to try this, we're going to continue. Now that we're going to put this in, I will return and actually check if this works. So here it says mute song only. This may take a while. If we're able to mute the copyrighted song, we'll update any viewing or monetization restrictions. So we'll hit the mute button and we'll mute out the song. So the reason I chose a video that only had one song is I'm really keen to see what happens with this now. Will the muting work for just that song? What will actually happen? Will it change this ineligible back to monetized using this process? So there you go. It now processes the video. We can close out of this. And as you see up there, it says video cannot be monetized. This is not a copyright strike. So again, we know it's only a claim because it's got that information there. We can close out of that and that's going to go away and start up updating. So they're the three options that you have if you've used someone else's music and it's definitely their music. Now, we did talk about the fact that there's a dispute process. So let's jump in and take a look at the dispute process. So if we come in here now, I'm going to choose my own, just so I don't put any bogus disputes on anyone else, and I'm not going to actually put the dispute through because it's actually a legitimate dispute. A legitimate copyright claim, because I've released this song. I've chosen as my band Fear Cut. I've chosen to release using Content ID, and it's put it out here as Content ID on YouTube. I've then used the audio of this in my video, so more fool me. But yeah, so I'm copyright claiming my own stuff. So what I can do here is select the action. This time, do you have the rights to this content? If you do, so let's say that you actually purchased the rights. So you're collaborating with a songwriter. They've released it using Content ID, but they've actually sold you a license. You can actually come in here and dispute it. And what you can do here is you can say, remember that the following are not valid reasons. If you own a copy of the song. So yeah, you can't use a song just because you own it on CD. I'm not making money from my video. Also not a valid excuse. Doesn't matter if it's monetized or not. Copyright claims work the same way, and I gave credit to the copyright owner. So you can't just stick the name of the copyright owner in your description and go, hey, I'm good, I gave you attribution. None of those work. So my dispute's not related to any of those. I'm going to continue, and then we hit continue, and then we've got the dispute type. So original content, so the video is my original content, a license, so I have permission to use it, fair use. Be super careful with this. I've significantly transformed the content and claimed in my video. This is if you're using something for parody or a lot of those reaction channels, they might try and claim a dispute based on fair use, or it's in the public domain. So you're saying, hey, yeah, someone else may have used this and there's a copyright claim, but it's actually a public domain song. So any old sucker can use this. That's the other option that you have there. So you select that one. You push it through. I won't do it here, as I said. You just review everything and then you provide your rationale. It's an in-depth process. So only do this if you absolutely have to. So if you've purchased a license, if you are the original owner, if you do want to dispute it, because at the end of it, you pretty much sign your life away and say, I'm definitely the owner of this. If it's proven that you're not, it can turn into a copyright strike. So yeah, your copyright claim, which is pretty innocuous, if you put in a dispute and it's a non-validated dispute, then that can turn into a copyright strike. So I don't want to do that against myself, so I'm going to X out of it and come back over to here. But there is options there if you do want to actually dispute your copyright claims. So let's come back over to my notes here. So yeah, the only other thing that we mentioned before in terms of what you can do with copyright is from an artist perspective, and we already mentioned this. But if you do use something like DistroKid, and here's the DistroKid support page on this. If I submit my music to YouTube Music, will it cause problems with Content ID? Keep in mind that YouTube Music is different to YouTube Content ID. So if you release music using CD Baby, TuneCore, Amuse, whoever it is, and you don't select YouTube Content ID, but you do select YouTube Music or YouTube, it's just going to put the song out there. And all of my music is on YouTube because I use DistroKid, and I don't select the YouTube Money option. If you do select the YouTube Money service here with DistroKid, or you use a distributor such as CD Baby that bundles in YouTube content, and Amuse used to do this too. I think Deep Gravity in the chat said that they have the same thing. If you release through Amuse, in the past with the free plan and now with the pro plan, I think you have to pay for it now, you get Content ID on your song. So that will actually release it. It will attach Content ID to your song. So please keep that in mind if you are releasing music, that's what you can do. The other option, as we mentioned at the start, is to use someone like Audium. So Audium is a digital reproduction collection agency. So there's a few others of these that you can choose to use if you like to. So I'm going to have a quick drink and then we'll jump back over and we'll talk to the folks here live and answer any questions you may have about YouTube, Content ID, copyright claims, and all the rest. Alrighty. So Jade's got some experience here. Had a few fake copyright claims on my own music, disputed them, and won every one of them. Yeah, so if you're confident, if it's your music and if you can prove it, and look, this is why my advice. So there's kind of two general schools of thought on copyright. There's folks that protect their stuff by not sharing with anyone, by not putting it out there on platforms. And then as soon as the song's done, they go and they register it with the Copyright Office and they do everything they can to protect themselves. That's totally cool and I respect that. Then there's people like me. I use what I call the hide in plain sight mentality, which is that I create my songs here on the channel. I show you the behind the scenes. I show you the songwriting process. I show you demos, and then I show you the final version. So I share everything every step of the way, which means that when I get to that final version, it's pretty clear that I own it. So I'm pretty confident that if someone came out and said they wrote the song Anxiety before I did, they would have a really tough job proving it because I actually wrote it. Like I've got videos where I'm here on the channel actually writing the chord progression and workshopping the lyrics. So hiding in plain sight can sometimes be a good thing and can help you out with that. Tom Rochelle says, fair use probably doesn't work too often. They tend to use a pretty narrow definition of that exemption these days. Yeah. And there's a few rumors around that. I didn't want to go down the whole, conspiracy rumor path, but a lot of folks have said, oh, if you use 3 seconds or less, you're fine. No. Or they've said, oh, if you add something else over the top of it, you're fine. If you're using it just as commentary, you're fine. No, fair use is not actually a law. Like fair use is it's a legal concept. So you have to prove fair use. You don't go, I just used fair use. No, you can't use fair use. Fair use is a concept that you would have to go to court and have a lawyer prove that you have met the requirements of the fair use legal concept. So yeah, don't just go using other people's copyrighted content. And probably my number one bit of advice with all this stuff is if you want to be 100% completely safe, just don't use other people's content. Don't use any audio or video from other folks. Create things 100% yourself. And look, the beautiful part, I know many of you use GarageBand or Logic or other DAWs to record music. If you're using the loops and the progressions and the things in those, almost all of them are 100% royalty free. Apple stuff is all 100% royalty free. So you can use loops, you can use samples, you can use virtual instruments in GarageBand and Logic, and all of those will not get you copyright strikes, copyright claims, or any of the above. Question here from John. Hello to you. Are there similar copyright rules if you upload your music to Spotify, Apple Music, etc.? Yes. Now, I say yes and then I hesitate because there is a bunch of there's something like 6 different actual types of royalties and copyright things. So yes, they are similar. The most basic way to think about it is that if you are the songwriter and you record it and then you release it using a distributor and people are streaming it or buying it, you're collecting the royalties directly from those purchases. There's the different things such as what Audium do, which is your streaming mechanical royalties. So if your songs are played on an internet radio station or they're played in public or they're played anywhere else, that's very different. That's something where you have to register with a performing rights organization. So ASCAP, BMI over in the US. I can't remember. I've blanked on the name. And the Australian one, I can't remember. And I've blanked on the name of the British one too. But yeah, PRO, Performing Rights Organization. They're who can actually track your music that you release. And then when it's played, they'll pay you royalties for there. For Spotify and Apple Music though, you choose to put it out there and you own it. Now, it's different, as you might have saw if you watched Jade's video recently on releasing a cover song. If you're releasing a cover song, it does something similar to what YouTube does with the copyright claim, where you need to get the mechanical license from the songwriter. So the actual composition license, you don't own. So you can't just release someone else's cover song and take all the royalties. You need to do a royalty sharing arrangement and you need to have that license. Now, if you use someone like DistroKid, they manage that all for you, or you can literally go and try and find the songwriter and negotiate it separately and then have to manage all these copyright claims. When a copyright claim came in, you'd have to go into the dispute and say, actually, I own it, or I purchased the license for this, therefore I can release it. So there you go. There you go. We've fixed it up. PRS in the UK and APRA. Yes, APRA AMCOS here in Australia. Thank you. It's been a long day already. And yeah, Russ, PRS. There you go. But if you search for that, if you want to learn more about it, search Performing Rights Organization and your country, and then you will be good to go. Jade starts saying that she sees a lot of videos who do a bunch of stuff, and then they put videos showing a bunch of fair use stuff. Fair use is not what people think it is. It doesn't mean you can just get away with it. It's like there's still consequences to things. You can say fair use, but yeah, you don't do it. Now, as Jade says here, every single new song I write before I even record it, I register it with APRA. And Jade, we need to have a chat. Maybe we do an interview where you explain to me more about this because I never have. I know I should, but I've never, because my songs are not played anywhere and I don't play out. Like I've released them and I get the distribution royalties, but I've never registered. So I need to. Maybe this will give me the kick in the butt that I need to actually do. Alrighty, there you go. Jade has over 300 registered songs. So yeah, don't go play. Actually, I was going to say don't go playing a Jade Star cover. Do go play a Jade Star cover because she'll get paid some composition royalties if you cover her song. So that's cool. Sion says, yeah, there's some remixes I can't release, even though it was fun to do. Yeah. And let's cover this again because we talked about it briefly, but remixes, using samples, using loops, there's been a heap of cases, like right back to, Vanilla Ice using Queen, as Gary Hubbs knows from his video. There's been like people sampling things. Like you look at the old sort of 80s and 90s and the gangster rap, they were sampling like old funk and soul records. And now they're getting themselves into trouble because they didn't actually go get the license. Fatboy Slim, he used a lot of stuff back in the day. And now some of those people are like, hey, you used this 4 seconds of this record that we released in 1964. Yeah, the Bittersweet Symphony sampling the Rolling Stones. There's been umpteen cases. And again, the number one bit of advice is if you want to stay completely out of trouble, don't sample, don't loop, don't remix, create all your own original stuff. If you're not monetizing it, don't stress so much. As you saw from all of that, I've played literally hundreds of copyrighted songs on this channel over the last 6 months, and I've had 0 copyright strikes. Goose egg. Because I play 1 to 2 minutes of the song, I talk about it, around it, and it puts a copyright claim in there. But most people, especially independent artists, are not going to go to the effort of blocking their music if they want to get their music out there. And why would you stop it? So let's just say I put my Your Music live show out, and 1,000 to 2,000 people are watching that show on a weekly basis generally. About 100 watch it live, about 1,000 to 2,000 watch the replay. If you're an independent artist, why would you instruct your record company, or if you're any artist, why would you instruct your record company to block that video and to not let me play a minute or 2 minutes of that song on my show? Because it's going to raise awareness to the music. No one's going to come and listen to that portion of my show with my big head in the way instead of going and listening to the actual song. That's ludicrous. So I don't understand. It's very much the old mindset of protect, protect, protect. Don't let anyone do anything. Unless someone's buying a physical copy of your album, then they shouldn't have the right to do anything with it. I don't agree with that, but I also don't agree with that I should just go ahead and do it. That's why what I showed you before, I don't do that within the first couple of weeks. While the videos are getting views, while it's a new, fresh show, I don't go in and do that because these are artists whose songs I'm playing. They've gone to the effort and the cost of registering them with a distributor for the ability to have YouTube Content ID. So they get it. They win in that regard because they've gone to the effort. So hopefully, hopefully that helps out. Andy Goldsby says, a lot of internet radio stations ask you to waive royalty claims, which is fine if you're trying to get exposure. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Do you weigh that up? You waive your royalty claims versus that. And look, I've never sought out radio play, so maybe it's something I need to do. And yeah, I know APRA is free. I need to do it. I totally need to do it. Maybe there you go. But get me on your show, Jade. We'll have a PRO rant Friday about PROs. That could be a lot of fun. Gary, did you get a copyright on Ice Ice Baby? You know what's funny? Nothing yet. And I've played Gary's entire song on my channel. We got not so much as a copyright claim. In fact, I could probably show you this. Let's dive in. Let's go behind the scenes. Since you're here and you've been hanging out for 40 minutes, you're obviously interested in this sort of stuff. Let's come in and I'll find the upload here that I did with Gary, because if you don't know this, Gary did an epic cover of the song Ice Ice Baby, and but not only did he play Ice Ice Baby, he played a bit of Under Pressure, and then he added in 6 or 7 songs, Gary, from other artists, and not a sniff of a copyright claim. I'm just trying to find it. I do far too many videos. I'm trying to find it. Here we go. So here is the Ice Ice Baby world premiere, and if we pop over here, check this out. Yo, VIP, let's kick it. We got nothing. So here is the video. And look over here, monetization is on. So may not be now. If someone's watching this video, they'd be straight onto that. Like, oh no, 450 views, that's like 4 to 5 cents. We better get onto that, get that Pete Johns revenue. So yeah, at this point, I'm stealing from Gary, who's stealing from who's stealing from Queen and Vanilla Ice and like 5 other artists. But again, this just shows that it's an automated system and it doesn't always work. And because, I mean, Gary has more right than anyone to actually say this is a derivative work and it's 100% fair use. So if there was a copyright claim on that, it would be a cover one. So it would be one similar to the ones we saw before. I've lost my thing that I showed. All right. Similar to the ones we saw before that were a cover song, like down here, the sharing. So here's another thing I did. I did a cover of Bob Evans, Don't You Think It's Time? So what I'd expect to see is something like this that had the song Ice Ice Baby, like I have with this cover song. But we don't have it for that one. And again, it's because it's automated. Now, someone mentioned Rick Beato before. If you want to learn the dark and seedy and underground world of copyright claims and how they can impact folks, check out Rick Beato. He, about every 6 months, he comes out and does a substantial rant about copyright and about YouTube Content ID. Because what actually happens with Rick is that he will reference and he will sometimes play little bits of songs. And because he's talking about it. Like, say he's talking about the Beatles and he's saying, here's a great chord progression that the Beatles do. And he might play the chord progression on his guitar. Now, that's not really even a cover version of the song, right? And it wouldn't get picked up by the automated Content ID robots. But what it does get picked up by is the farms of people that they have going in and trolling through all of the content that people put out, finding any mention of bands, any playing of any, like 2 seconds of audio of any bands, and then putting in copyright claims. The reason I don't get these yet, now, is that I'm not popular enough. Like, there's not enough views. It's not worth someone going in and putting in a content claim. Because as we've talked about, if 500 views, 1,000 views, 2,000 views, it's going to be cents. Like, we're talking a number of cents that could actually be recouped. But if you're Rick Beato and you've got 1 million plus subscribers and you're getting hundreds of thousands of views per video, yeah, it's absolutely worthwhile for these labels and for these management companies to hire teams of people to go in and troll through and find these. And then they put in manual copyright claims and they say, this 2 seconds was the Beatles' While My Guitar Gently Weeps. And it's literally like Rick Beato strumming a chord. So I'm not going to weigh in on the which side of the debate I am. I believe that artists, like I've said right throughout this, that artists that are producing music that own the composition rights should absolutely have the ability to participate in revenue sharing with anyone who's using their composition to monetize a video. End of story. But should they then do these more aggressive tactics of manual copyright claims, of blocking videos, of taking down videos, of issuing copyright strikes? No, it is not in the best interest of the original artist, and it's not in the best interest of the listener, and it's not in the best interest of the actual performer. Who's it in the best interest of? Yeah, the people making the percentages, the labels, the big wigs, the copyright management agencies. So there you go. Yeah, Jay's just selling it on me here. Yeah, if you register your songs with APRA at the end of each financial year, you can list all the live gigs you played and the songs you played each gig, and you get paid by APRA. There you go, along with radio and internet plays. So I clearly have to do this, Jade. And I don't know if that counts for my live shows, but I've played my own songs live on this channel umpteen times. So we'll see. Look out for a video on PROs. Russ is talking about the old school way of copywriting. You send a copy to yourself. Now, I've since spoken to folks that are in the industry that have said this really doesn't work, but I did it, and everyone did it back in the day. You'd make a copy of your tape on your cassette, you'd put it in an envelope, you'd post it to yourself, and you'd leave it sealed, and then if anyone came at you, you'd say, hey, no, I got this post-stamped copy of my song. It's definitely mine. There you go. Cold Acre, hello to you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. I have a YouTube channel that uses other bands' music. I get copyright claims on most of them. I don't plan on monetizing any video. My videos, are they safe? Yes. So I think you might have missed the start of it, but the first 10 minutes, the key thing there was copyright claims are innocuous. They aren't severe. They don't impact your channel whatsoever. And even if you did want to monetize your channel in the future, it's not going to actually impact that. As you saw from mine, it just means that those videos, so when I do Your Music Live every week, I do check in just to make sure I'm not getting any copyright strikes or anyone's like issuing any takedown notices. But again, touch wood, because we're talking about independent artists who are usually awesome folks who just want exposure over trying to be, then yeah, it's very rare that it's unlikely that I'm going to get that. Now, if you're playing back a bunch of entire pre-recorded songs. So if I sat here now and I played an Eagles song, a Beatles song, a Tool song, I'm trying to think of some that have had run-ins in the past. Anyway, if I played a bunch of popular music, especially from bands that I know are a little more aggressive, or at least their management companies are a little more aggressive on the actual tunes, then yeah, there is more of a chance that I'm going to get a copyright strike. But as long as it's remaining a claim, and to be perfectly honest, while you are remaining smaller, it's not going to be an issue. They really do target the folks that are playing full-length music and doing it. So there was an example that I saw on a video that someone did a lyric video for a Jason Mraz song. So Jason Mraz has music, someone does a lyric video for that entire song. The options that artist has is to either take the revenue, which considering it had like several million views would be the logical option, or issue a takedown notice. If they think that that's infringing on their copyright, which it is, then they can issue a takedown notice and say, no, you can't use the complete recorded audio of my song and just do a lyric video of my song and then monetize it for yourself. I'm going to get you taken down. Again, it all comes down to the owners of the copyright. If they are logical people that live on planet Earth, then you would think that they would just do the revenue share option, yeah? If they're not, then they won't. So there we go. Scroll back up. Sorry, I'm a bit behind on the chat here. Just answered my question as I was typing. Yeah, sorry, but I did want to reiterate it because it's very much the same. Tom Rochelle says, wish it was that easy here in the US, and they definitely don't pay you. You pay there in the Library of Congress. So yeah, I think it's different. Like there are PRO agencies that you sign up to and you pay, and I think APRA are different. So if you are a public venue, so when I used to do the hockey announcing, we had to pay. Like the Adelaide Adrenaline, the hockey team, had to pay APRA AMCOS a license fee to be able to play pre-recorded music. So every time I spun a record, that's a bit old school, every time I pressed a button and played an MP3 in the arena, because we had 500 people in that arena, we had to pay a license specific to the number of people we had. And that's so APRA can collect that money and then divide it out amongst the people. How the balls they knew what song I was playing each week, because no one was there. I don't know how they calculate that. That sounds all too complicated. So I don't know. Let's see if we've got any other questions. We'll just find out. Gary Hub says he has 3 dislikes, one for each of the estates of Bowie and Ice. One for Ice and one for the estates of Bowie and Mercury. Yeah, you get dislikes. As Deep Gravity said at the start of this show, I already had a dislike and I hadn't started talking yet. So I get hate before I even open my mouth. Go figure. Asa says, sometimes I know I get copyright claims on videos. Someone I know gets copyright claims on videos of just playing an electronic game. Yeah. So there's other copyright claims. We focused in on music here today because I know this channel is all about music. The exact same thing works for video. I did a video of my song called Bully, and I used clips from the movie A League of Their Own, because it's the chorus of the song says, "There is no crying in baseball." I got a copyright claim for the vision of that. And it's the exact same thing. You can cut it. Obviously, you can't mute vision. The only option you have is to trim out the segment where that vision is actually being present. Funnily enough, I did the exact same thing for my song College with Revenge of the Nerds. Didn't get a single claim. So yeah, it can be a bit different. Let's have a look. We'll continue on here. Question here from Al E says, how do some of these streaming music channels like Chilled Cow get away with it, and other DJ streaming channels? Yeah, so they're a little bit living on the edge. So if you're thinking, how do people that just have these lo-fi channels that are just playing lo-fi tunes, they would be getting constant copyright claims. But here's the thing. As long as they're choosing and using music that's not going to get them takedown notices or copyright strikes, they're going to be completely fine. So similar to what I do with my Your Music Live show, if I happen to stumble across someone who wanted to be super aggressive and had some sort of weird vendetta, they could go to the effort of issuing a takedown claim, and I could end up with a copyright strike. It is super unlikely and super rare. If you were streaming 24/7 and you're playing other people's music and you're monetizing it, which places like Chilled Cow are, then yeah, you're a little bit living on the edge. And I'm sure they probably have to put in some disputes or they do things. The other thing they could be doing is actually licensing the music. So there are some channels that actually license music and then just play that music 24/7. So if you stream nothing but the YouTube audio library, then you would be totally fine because they're all royalty free. Or if you signed up to one of the various, like Splice or one of the various royalty free music sites, and you just played random songs and loops from one of those, then you'd be fine too. So hopefully that helps you. So Jade Star says, I'm still getting copyright claims on my Bedfolds cover, even though I paid for the ability to release a cover via DistroKid. Yeah, and this is where it gets super murky. If you release a cover song through a distributor and you have the license to release it in streaming platforms and to sell it, YouTube Content ID seems to be managed completely separately outside of that. So I don't even know, Jade, if the license that you have through DistroKid enables you to dispute the claim on YouTube. That's a really interesting question. Sly Dog says the only copyright claim I got from YouTube was when I played along to The Cult for a podcast. Nothing since or before, so pretty random. Yeah, it can be totally random. I mentioned the reason I keep saying share is that I have a weird home video from 2001. 2003, the first time I went to the US. I'm sitting in a bar in New York, drinking a beer and, just chatting to the camera like you do when you're on holidays and doing home movies. And Cher's song, Do You Believe in Love? That's playing in the background. I posted that video on YouTube and I get a copyright claim. I'm like, it was my first copyright claim because it was, 5, 6, probably 10 years ago. And I'm like, what the heck is this? What have I do? Why is my holiday copyrighted? And it went in there and it said, yeah, we heard this Cher song in your video for like 2 seconds. So yeah, that was when I first learnt of the twisted web that copyright can weave. We got time. What have we got? 10 minutes left. We've got time for a few more questions or any other final comments that you may have. Deep Gravity says, maybe I'll just live stream my 2 songs on a continuous stream and wait for the payday from APRA. Yeah, there you go. And Jade's saying, yes, it would count if I play that. There you go, Jade. I need to pay Jade to become my my copyright lawyer and to get me lots of sweet cash from all the songs that I've written. Jade Star says Madonna is aggressive. There you go. When it comes to defending her copyrights and potentially in other ways, we don't know. After all, after all, she is a material girl. There you go. Nice. I like it. Down here, we've got John. John who says, a question, are copyright claims monitored by YouTube so that nobody can get away with fake claims and no mistakes can be made? Whew. So, where to start on that one? No. The short version is, so YouTube, when it comes to copyright on YouTube, YouTube used to be the wild, wild west. So when YouTube first came out, anyone could post anything. And people would post their cat videos with a complete Nirvana song playing in the background and they'd be fine. Clearly, the labels and the managers of the artists were not happy with this. So they came to YouTube and said, you got to do something about this. You have got to check with everyone who uploads a video whether they have the license to use a song in a video. And YouTube went, that would destroy our business model. We need another way. So the boffins at YouTube went away and coded up the Content ID system. And they went back to the labels and said, we're going to do one better than that. We're going to make you some sweet, sweet cash. So what they said is, you give us all of the songs in your entire catalog. We will fingerprint all of those. We will make sure that we can identify them. And then every time we hear those songs being played in a video, we get to flag it and you get to decide whether you want to take it down or whether you want to share in any revenue made from that song. And the labels probably said, yes, no, maybe, and eventually yes. So what happens with YouTube now is that the big labels come in, they give all their catalog of their Mariah Careys, their Madonnas, their Beatles, their whatever. They all get cataloged, the audio gets scanned, and it goes in. And the exact same thing happens. If you release through DistroKid or Amuse or CD Baby and you tick Content ID, exact same thing happens. Audio gets scanned, goes into YouTube's library. If I then go and play your song on my show, and it identifies that, so the YouTube robots that go through and listen to every piece of audio, because they do, then it gets marked as Content ID. YouTube have basically said that there will be false positives. There will be times where it will actually get claimed, where it's not actually correct. So there will be things where you have to dispute it, and that's why they have the dispute process in there. So yes, there are claims that are completely bogus. I've had really weird claims where I've played a song and then I get a claim for a completely different song that I've never even heard of from some random world artist from a language that isn't even English. So on those occasions, I've disputed it. I've said it's not this song. I'm 100% sure it's not this song. You put it through and it clears it up. So it's not that hard to actually, and as Jade said, she's disputed a bunch and she always gets the dispute turned. So it's not that hard to do, but it can be a little bit frustrating to do. The bigger issue lately has been manual content ID claims. So the labels at the time said, yeah, that's cool, Google, but we don't 100% trust you, because what if someone uses our song and it doesn't tag it? We need a manual system. So YouTube probably reluctantly had to say, okay, you get the ability to put in a manual claim then, and they're the ones that most of YouTube is up in arms about, because again, whenever there is the sweet De Niro, then people are going to be doing things that are less than ideal. So yeah, it's come to this point where it's a battle between content creators who are trying to use things, and then the actual artists, not the artists themselves, but usually their management or their label, who are pushing very aggressively to, if not take them down, at least get a piece of the pie. So hopefully that helps you out. One moment, please. Yeah, and a lot of copyright claims are automated using algorithms, like how Shazam can find the name of a song. Yeah, exactly right. So they have all of the stuff, they have all the details, and then the little robots go and do that. Emerald just joined. So how do I get content ID for my music? Release through a distributor and select the content ID option, or use a service such as Audium, which we talked about earlier, which is this one here. So they're your two main options. You can try and sign up to do it manually through YouTube. Apparently it's very difficult, and I've never tried it myself. Alrighty, we'll continue on. Jade saying that apparently you can make quite a bit of money out of app rep. There you go. I definitely need your help with that. As Tom says, yeah, you can do it through distributing your music through DistroKid, and it's one of the options when you release. It sure is. Alrighty, we are going to finish off there. I know this is a semi-dry topic, like it's not as exciting as DAWs and plugins and other things, but it's really important to understand, and hopefully I presented this. If you've hung around for the first 10 minutes, well, you're not listening or watching this part now anyway, but hopefully you got the vital information up front, and then if you wanted to see a little bit behind the scenes of the deep dive and ask your questions, hopefully you got an opportunity to do those. So I'll probably split out the start of the video and release that separately as just the information. But yeah, I hope you got some value out of this one and learned a little bit about the twisted world of YouTube, content ID, copyrights, copyright claims, copyright strikes, and everything in between. It is a bit of a hassle, but you know what? It's still the future. Again, as I always say with these things, if you told me 20 years ago that this system would exist, that there would be these algorithms that can detect music, that I could have a platform where I can upload my songs for free, that I could play other people's music, that I could have a whole show dedicated to playing other people's songs, I would have called you crazy. So we do live in the future, and the future comes with a few caveats and a few challenges like the ones that YouTube Content ID and copyright creates. So thank you very much for being here. If you want more information, there is a whole playlist. So your job now, if you want more and you want to find out more about YouTube Content ID and copyright on YouTube, there's a playlist of videos that is linked down the bottom. If you watch on the replay, it'll pop up in a little bubble in a moment. As I say with every stream here, please be kind to yourselves, be kind to other people, be careful of your copyright, and have a great day. Keep creating, folks, and I'll see you real soon. Cheers.